How's it going, everyone? Welcome to another video. So we're working on a MGZS today. We're going to fit some nice brand new calipers. You can see, nice brand new, lovely jubbly, not recons, actually brand new. We've got new sliders, we've got new bolts, we've got new rubbers, we've got uprated discs and pads. So we're going to install them, but they're the same size as the originals, just uprated. And lots more. We've got a big variety of tools here. We've got some uprated pads. These ones are by Mintex. And yeah, we've got lots to do. We've got to undo wheel nuts. We've got a lock and wheel nut to undo. So put your jack up under the suspension. I'll show you where that is in a bit. We'll get the gun on, we'll blast these off, and we'll get started. So my name is Carl, this is Waterside Workshop. Let's go! Okay, so this is obviously the bits you need to do the brake change, and these are some of the tools and stuff you're going to want as we go through the job. Obviously I'll run you through, I'll show you which tools are going to do what to do with each thing, what sizes things are, what hammers I use, what extraction kits I use, greases, etc, etc. Okay, so I've got myself a lock and wheel nut, got myself a 17. Just blast them off. Obviously if you're doing it DIY style, just get your wheel brace out. I'm just doing this for speed so you can see what's going on, and I don't spend 2 hours trying to show you a video. I want you to see what's going on fairly quickly. Take your tyre off, just give it a quick check as you're doing it. These are brand new on the back of this, so I know they're all good. Now on this bit I would recommend getting one of these for undoing your disc nuts. It's called an impact driver, and what you do is you put it on the nut, you get yourself a decent lump hammer and you just whack the end. You set it on reverse, which means undo. You hit the end probably 6, 7, 8 times and that'll undo the nuts, spin them out. In this case there's actually none in there, so I'll have to put some in out of the drawer, which means we'll take us on to the next step. Now this handbrake's off and this is all seized, there's nothing moving, so I'm just going to give it a hit. As you can see, there's tons of rust going on the floor, but we're now getting it. And there we go, we got it moving without jamming our fingers. So I'm going to get in the back here. This is the caliper, and down the back there should be some 12 mils. Now, I'm going to use a fairly long spanner. The reason I do that is I wiggle it on, and then I've got something to hit to get a bit of pressure on, like so. Now you're going to have to wiggle them around a bit because they're going to be rusty, they're going to be a pain. But we've got the first one moving, that's now finger tight. Now you're going to wiggle it onto the bottom one. They've actually come out quite nicely, to be fair. We've just done the other side. You can probably see I've got the old goggles on the head because I've been grinding in the pads and stuff like that. Just going to check the shocks and stuff on this side while we're looking. Got a bit of movement on the back here, so might say them back shocks are a bit soft. And take the 12 mils out. These won't go back in, even though they are usable. These ones actually ain't got too bad of heads, but in my little package down here, I've got some brand new ones, and I recommend changing them. You can get a kit with sliders, with rubbers, etc. And this is the one I used. It's from Big Red, and it's H1319AX. There's the code for it. If you want to get the same kit as I'm there about to use. Not sponsored or anything like that. I'm just trying to help people out. So, can we get this moving? Probably not. They're a bit tight, these brakes. So I'm going to get the old hammer and I'm going to knock that caliper off. You can clearly see these brakes are quite seized. Fair bit of pad left on that one. I'm going to lift the caliper up and just put it around the back there. There's a fair bit of pad left on that, but it's been wearing and leaving an outer edge. It's not much of a lip on the disc on this, to be honest. I was expecting a lot worse. Bit of a seized slider down the bottom, but the top one's still moving. And take them out, put them aside, because we're not actually going to use them. As I say, we've got brand new ones. Right, I'm going to bring you over and let you see a bit more of what's happening. But obviously this is loose, ready to be moved, but the carrier, which is down the back here, is still holding on. Now, if I remember rightly, there are 14. But they're always warm, that's the trouble. So most of the time I try and get a 13 on, and I'll use one of these, and what I'll normally do is hammer it on. I will try and just wiggle it on this time, but most of the time I do have to hammer on. If not, I have to use an extractor set. Yeah, that's not happening, so I'll bring you over, I'll show you what's happening, show you where we're jacked up, and we'll use some tools to start doing the job. Okay, so the caliper's sitting here. We've just undone these ones here, which are the 12s, top and bottom. We're lifting that up, putting that tucked away over the back here, and we're now about to work on the back here. Just get you an angle. And what we're after are these bolts up here. Hopefully you can see both them bolts there. And they're a pain, so I'm trying all different things. What I'm going to use is this extraction kit. And you basically got different sizes. We'll go for the 13 or the 14. We might have to hammer it on. And away we go. So let's have a go and see if we can get them off. So we've got the extraction kit on. Now I'm going to get big massive bar, as you can see. Put it over the end of the socket, all the way around. And hopefully get these cracked off, because they're very, very tight. Got one little click of it. Be nice if we can get it to go again. So it'll take a few clicks before we can actually do it by hand. And hopefully Still can't do it by hand. They're so tight when they're rusted like that. You just have to keep going at it with the big bar until you can actually get some sort of movement by your own hands, which sometimes takes quite a bit. I can still hardly turn that by hand, to be honest. Full pout. I can just about turn it. Whew. Yeah, that's hard work. You will get out of breath and stuff. It's just part of the game, I'm afraid. So I think you get the idea. So we'll get both of them undone. We'll get them out and I'll slide that off. Okay, so that's just dropped out from behind there, like so. Just undone them nuts like I said about right there. 13, 14 they should be, but they probably won't be, they'll probably be rusty. Pull out the little pins. And what I do with these is I get the old WD, shake it up, and I literally fill the holes up. And that will soak, get hold of all the old grease and stuff, and all the rust, etc. I then get one of the old sliders, just wipe it down with a rag, something like that, sort of clean it up, and then just get in there, turning it, working it up and down. You will feel that all the grit and all everything coming out. Spin it around. And you're basically just trying to get them nice and clear, nice and rust free. Ready for the new ones to go in. Same on this side. To be fair, these ones are not too seized. The ones I've done on the front were rock solid. These are actually moving quite nicely. I can feel the yucky bits of grit and dirt coming out. Don't do it with the new ones, obviously. And then just turn them over, wash them out. Get all that yuck out of there. You should sort of be able to see into them, and they should be quite shiny like so. Should be quite clean and shiny, no dirt and yucky. If they are still dirty, get in there and do it again. Do it 2 or 3 times if you really, really have to. Then next thing to do is get your new slider. Put the rubber on that way around. So the bigger circle at the top. No, wrong way around, sorry. The smaller circle there, because that's the one that goes inside the carrier. Push it onto your thing. You hear it pop. Then you know it's in place. So you get grease with these ones, but if you haven't got any, just use some sort of high intensity grease. I've got one here, I'll show you in a second. Just to give you an idea of what you need to use. No, so the other side there, basically that's a high tensile one for brakes and stuff like that. Work all that grease into the carrier. That'll all push to the top like so. Take it out. Push it all in around the sides. Just keep working its way in. Spin it side to side. You shouldn't have any grit, any noises. That should just go in and out really nicely. Spin round. Basically one finger job, you should be able to push it in and out. So when you're operating your brakes, that's just moving very nicely. And when you push that really hard in like that, and give it a turn, you get excess grease come out. Just use that on your other one. Don't waste it. And what you'll find is that rubber will pop into the carrier. Now you can't pull it out if you're really gently with it. You can only pull it to there. It basically pops into this seal around the edge of here, and that's what keeps all the oils, well not oils, the greases in the carrier there. And you don't want that to come outside of that. So get both hands, press it inside like that, get it to lock up, and that's how you want it. We'll get the other one and show you it again, just really quickly on this one. So that piece goes in the caliper, the bigger one goes into the slider. Listen for the pop. Hear the little pop. Get your grease. I've only got a tiny bit left now because this is my very last one. Put that all over your slider. Now obviously that's too much for me to try and push in, so what I'll do is I'll just slide it in like so. And then get your slider, start working it in and out, spinning it round. Make sure there's no grit or anything, no noises, no horrible grating. Spin it till that rubber goes right into that recess, and again that will lock on like so, and they're both locked on. There will be a bit of excess grease in that floating about, but it's not going to hurt because we'll wash it all down later. But if you've got any big lumps like so, just get them tidied up while you're doing it. What I do while this is off is just inside the calipers here where these little plates are. Just run the file over them and get any rust off that's on them. You can put them on here and just, not looking for perfection, it hasn't got to be absolutely spotless. Because your little stainless steel runners go there. But just give them a bit of a clean, just so they're not all caked up in rust. Like this one's quite bad. You don't want all that lumpy rust going in your brakes. Like so. Get the old WD again and wash them down. Also helps with rust anyway, so that's all good. Put that aside. Wipe your hands and stuff up so you're ready to start moving stuff around. Pull your disc off. Now this one, to be fair, didn't really need changing. It's got plenty left on it. There's no lip or anything on it. It's, you know, it's not actually too bad at all. But the other side was terrible. Now on these back pads tend to fall apart, as you can see. This one's seen better days. So what we're going to do,
to be fair, it's pretty bad. It's pretty rotten. Let's keep banging that to exercise out right now. Here it goes.
To be honest, they come off a lot quicker than that normally. As you can see, that's pretty rotten. Not really good for anything. So where all that sharp metal is now, we'll normally get a hammer. And we basically dull it all down. You don't really want to be catching yourself on that. So it's quite nasty. This bottom bit here is all your carrier for your ABS sensor. Even they get a bit flaky and rough, to be fair. That bearing's a bit rough, to be fair. Might be changing that at a later date. A bit tight. It's starting to move now. I'm moving it. It's been sitting around for a little while. Might just work a bit of WD into it. Do the same on yours if that's needed. If it's been sitting around, there you go. Look. Get it moving. Trouble is, all this rust on the floor all goes in there as well, you see, and that's not nice. These do actually go out of shape, to be honest. The one on the other side's a bit out of shape. I think this one's the same. You can hear it's a bit bitty and nasty. If that don't get any better, then I would recommend just getting a hub for it with the bearings in. It has freed up quite a bit, but you don't want to hear it grating like it is at the moment. Just looking at the old ABS sensors, rings and that along the back here. They look okay, but it's a bit wobbly when it's going round. It's not really helping. Basically, if you can't get rid of that noise, then them bearings need changing. That's a bit noisy if you listen. And they don't normally need greasing, to be honest. I can't obviously do them right this minute because I haven't got any bits like that in stock at the moment, but this has got an MOT coming up fairly soon, so I'll recommend the person whose car it is to do them at the time. Right, so let's do a couple of these clips while we're just on the end of here. This clip's got to come out for the handbrake. You need to get them moving basically. This one here is the carrier for the caliper here, and they're always mega tight. They can be an absolute nightmare. I'll show you down here what it actually is because you can't really see it properly up there. Well, it's dirty. Basically, that's this here, and the cable comes through like so, and seizes in the middle of there where it goes through, because that's a big metal chunky sort of bit of plate there. Goes through and then that seizes in there. So what I do is I soak them up like that for a bit. Get it to balance like so. There's a little clip on there. We'll attempt the clip, see if it will move. Sometimes they will, sometimes they're absolutely seized. This one's quite tight by the looks of things. Doesn't mean it's not going to go there. You just got to get it in a spot where it wants to move. I'm going to try a flat blade. Oh, that did move a little bit. Did move a little bit. They're not nice to do. They're a pain. Once you get them to move over properly, a couple of knocks, they should come off. I've moved it up. I'll be honest, this one hasn't been done for a very long time, so it's going to be a pain. If you've got a project or so like this, or you're picking up one that's been sitting around for a long time, a pair of these road grips can always come in handy. It's basically that clip there. Can be reused, quick sand and a bit of WD around it, and that will go back in. Now these 12s here do need to come off once this cable's sorted, but we're going to work on that a little bit first. No, we're not, tell a lie. We're going to get the little pin out of here, if we can get to it. How good is it? Try and actually see what's left of it. It's meant to be like a special clip, but this one looks like this. There's not a lot left of it. It's actually breaking up, I think. So that's probably going to have to be replaced with a split pin of some sort. It's a shame, but they don't come with anything, so it's the only way to do it, really. I can't actually remember what them clips are called, but it's the only thing they're actually in. They don't actually do anything else, to be honest. Well, on these cars, anyway. It's going to be a pain, obviously, because I can't see the clip, or even what's left of it, if there is even anything left of it. If there's not, then that's a case of just getting this pin out, but I'm going to guess that there is something left of it. And that's going to be a right pain, I think, because I think it's broken off, and it's like broken off inside it. Which is nothing unusual on a ZS. There's always bits breaking on them. You'll get loads of rust to contend with. That's just how they are. You're basically just trying to get this pin out, but this one has been a bit of a pain. It's not even moving. Now, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to warm it up a bit. Get a flame on it, but try not to melt anything else at the same time. As you can see, we've got a fair bit of rust to contend with there, so just sort of bang it a bit and see if you can get some of that rust off. You can put a flat blade in like this and just twist it, and sometimes they will pop open. But I think our problem on this one is there's a tiny bit of pin left in the stud. And the actual stud's not moving whatsoever. Yeah, that stud is absolutely solid. Doesn't matter if we knock it around a little bit because we're changing the caliper. To be honest, these calipers don't normally go again. They don't normally wind back in enough to be any good. They normally back basically where they are now. They stick out about a quarter of the way. That makes them a pain. This one is normally I can get these out quite quick, to be honest. This one's been a right pain. You get the idea of what I'm trying to do. So what I'll do is I'll get this out and I'll bring you back once we've done that, because you're not going to want to watch me do that for 15 minutes, are you? Okay, so you're obviously going to want to know what I've done. So what I've done is I put it up there like that. I got the flat blade in there and hammered it in, and opened up the bottom one, and I got it in between the top one, hammered it in and opened up the top one. I've now got the grips to go on it, and I'm just basically forcing it out like so. That's what it basically is. That's a pin with a tiny little hole for it, which is basically a clip to make sure that don't come out, and that's what holds your handbrake cable. Now I'm going to have really good fun trying to get the rest of that clip out of there because that's absolutely tiny. But we'll worry about that in a bit. Right, that will release the handbrake cable off the caliper. This is your handbrake mechanism here. When you pull your handbrake up, that goes forward and that works your handbrake basically. It's actually working, which is unusual. A lot of these are a right pain and then what I know. Right, next job is to try and get this cable out of this. And that can be a pain too. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to undo these two 12s here, which I'll show you now. Oh, just bear with me, I'm just going to grab a 12mm socket. Whew. I'm getting a bit knackered to be honest. It's 1 o'clock in the morning at the moment. I'm doing a late one doing this one. It's probably going to be sort of 3 o'clock by the time I've gone all the way around the car. There's one of the 12s, put them aside. Same on the other side. There's number 2. As you can see, the caliper's free now. This one's got a bit caught up. It doesn't matter, it can go back on once it's ready. And what we need to do is pull this rubber forward here, pull this rubber forward there. And what you need to do is hang it, get some WD in there, so it goes through the centre of the cable. You're trying to get inside there, and then you hang it the opposite way. Do the same again, all the way around the whole lot. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat it up here, but you don't want to mount any rubbers, and you don't want to catch any of your cables, so you need to keep the gun right over here and have it on very low heat. Basically just trying to burn the rust. Because when the new caliper goes on, like so, you got a new carrier, as I showed you earlier. You've got this new carrier, and you want the new carrier on there. If possible, you can use the old one again. I mean, they're not going to rot, they're rock solid steel, but if you've got a new part, it's nice to fit it. So we'll put the gas on as low as we can get it. And we'll heat it right there. Try not to touch anything else. This normally works, you just have to get it hot enough to burn all the rust, but not any of the cable. I think you get the idea. And then you bring it round and hang it down. And what you're trying to do is knock that metal piece off. And all you can do is get a hammer and you just hit it. You just keep hitting it, giving it whatever you can give it. And eventually, they normally go. Being careful obviously because that's hot. Normally I only take a few hits and you can get them to move. You can try other stuff as well, but that's normally the hitting that does the job. We got a tight one. Nothing unusual. Normal ZS stuff. The whole thing's moving and not the centre bit we want to move. We want that piece to separate from this piece, which normally does happen, to be honest. We normally can get them going. Might not have heated it enough. Try not to set light to your cable and stuff. That won't help. You see all the WD coming up and fizzing. Exactly what you want it to do. It's literally burning up from the inside now. All the WD's eating away at it, and you want it to start coming out around there if possible. And then basically you just have to keep hitting it until it decides to come off. Sometimes there's 10 hits, sometimes there's 25 hits. But that normally goes, and I've done it all my life like so. If you don't know, I've been working on these for 25, 30 years. Rovers and MGs. There's no nice way of doing it. Basically, it's the only way you can get them free. I think it is starting to move. They are a real pain. Obviously, you can take the system off and put it in a vice and stuff, but you don't want to be doing that. Come on. We're halfway. I know it's a bit tedious, but that's just the only way to do it. There we go, she's off. I know it's a bit of a funny way of doing things, but that is literally the only way on these. When it's all still connected to the car. Now this is obviously opened up a bit, so I'm going to have to just close it slightly. Just to be able to get the end off. And there's your end. Not going to hold it long because it's burning me. But everything's still good. All your rubbers just go back in like they should. Pull your rubber back over your cable to keep everything all nice and neat. Put it through your new one when we get there. And put the clip back on, and that will all be exactly how it was. I'm just going to widen that up. I'm going to give it a bit of a juice, so it's all ready to go when we get to that point. And now we can put that aside and out of the way, really, for a little bit. Still hot, as you can see. How we doing on the old bearing? Still a bit graty. So we're going to have to do that, but obviously not right this minute. So let's grab a disc, line up your two holes where your little keyways go, slide one in, and this would be when you do these up. Now I've got to go on the hunt and find one of them, so I'm going to turn you off. See if I can find one somewhere. Okay, so I found myself a little grub screw that goes in the brakes. I haven't found two, I've only found one, but one will definitely do the job. I don't hammer them tight, I just literally do them to where I've just done them. A little bit of warpness on the hub, but nothing too crazy. I think we should be okay. Right, our nice little carrier that we built earlier now needs to go on. It goes around the back like so, and then them horrible bolts earlier on that we had to get off of the extractor, and they got to go back in. Now, if you can get hold of them, I would recommend changing them. I couldn't get any on this occasion with any of the kits, but normally I would try and get my hands on one of them, or a pair of them for the carrier. You just have to give them a little wiggle and line them up. You probably will have to use the extractor tool to do them again. But if that's the only choice you got, that's all you can do. There's no ifs or buts. So I've got the socket and the extractor on there. We're getting tight, that's good news. Now I don't go all the way because you want it to go on even, so I'll do the bottom one as well. Sorry if my head's in the way. Yeah, so you get the idea. I'm doing both of them up. So I'll bring you back when we move on to the next step. So next bit, that's all tight. Next bit is the little carrier pad things that go there. You just want all these bits as clean as possible, really. Get all the brake dust off them. I'll just show you doing one because you don't want to see me cleaning little metal things there. I'm basically just doing that with a flat blade screwdriver. And then I'll do my normal, rinse it down with some WD, give it a wipe, and that's ready to use. This clips in the bottom there like so. I'll do the other one off camera, and the other top one basically just goes in there like that. So I'll take that one out, get that cleaned up, let's say off camera. And then that's a case of getting the old pads in the system. Now, I don't know why, saying that, this one's gone straight in, but to be honest, on 99.9% of the pads I get, I have to cut the ends. We'll see if this one goes in. They don't very often, I know that much. Oh, I know why it went in, because I didn't have the other plating up the top there. I'll show you what I have to do to these ends once I've cleaned this up. Okay, so this is what we have to do to the pads. Get yourself a grinder with a grinding wheel on, not a cutting disc. Cover up your arms and stuff as much as you can. And on the edges where the edge of the pad sticks out, we're going to take a fair bit off. And as you can see, take a fair bit off the edges. Alright, let's go back over to the car. So now it's time to actually fit the pads. We'll do the one with the big sticky out bit on the back first. You want yourself some copper grease. And where we just done the grinding, just dab a little bit on the ends. Just to give the pads somewhere to slide about a bit. And then line them up. Trying to do this without looking because I want you to see as well. Basically, in it goes. Same with this one. Just on the ends where we've just ground. Good old blob. In at an angle. On both ends. Slide them in. Now they need to be free pads. They need to move around a little bit. You don't want them like jammed in there so you can't move them. If they're too tight, cut them a bit more. They need to move around slightly like so. Not so they're flapping about and all over the place, but just enough to... They've got a bit of movement so they don't get jammed up, because the brakes on the back of these, they like to jam up and just sit there, basically. They're a bit of a pain, to be honest. Get your caliper, your new caliper. Goes that way around. Now, these little cutouts here on the caliper, flat spots on both sides, have to line up with the little flat spots on the back of these. So if you turn them around so they're flat and push them inwards, you can go around it. Everything will push over the top. You just push them in on both ends, give it a little tap, and in it goes. Get your new bolts. Now these are 12s, just the same as the new one, the old ones. Give it a wiggle, get the top one in. Now they're spring loaded because there's a spring in there. There's a little metal plate in there, and that's what will keep your pads sort of in position. You basically push them in, keep a bit of tension on them, get the bottom one in. Once it's in literally a couple of turns, that'll hold itself there like so. Get your 12mm. Wind them all the way in. And when you get near the end, one nip, 2 nips, and that's enough. You don't need to go over the top, because all you do is just break them off, which you definitely don't want to be doing. Top one as well. You can use the socket to do this as well, but I like the spanner just to get the feel of how tight I'm doing them. Couple of nips. Calipers are nice and solid. Moving around nicely on the sliders. Get your cable, feed it through. Feed the big old metal bit through as well. And this bit here does go on the end of there. If that's not quite right, just get your grips, pull the cable a bit, see if you've got any slack. If you haven't, you're going to have to go into the console in the car, take out where the ashtray is in the back there, and there's a 10mm nut, wind it back. I'm going to have to do the same on this one because this one's nowhere near. So we're going to have to slacken off a little bit. So I'll show you that. So down inside the car like so, just there, if you pull that ashtray out, there's a 10mm where you can adjust. You've got to slacken that right off. Okay, so I moved on to putting the handbrake cable back on. As you can see, I've put an 8mm nut and bolt in there, left it slack. So there's a, sorry about the camera, so there's a bit of slack in it, so it's still moving backwards and forwards. And thread locked the nut at the bottom, so you can leave it slack. So it's still got movement, because obviously when you pull it forward and backwards, it needs to swivel, it needs some movement on it. So that's how we've done that. So let's carry on. Now I'm going to get the old horseshoe nut thing, clip that goes up the top here on the cable. Basically, you just have to get the cable straight. You should be able to just knock it down. And there you go, like so. It just fits in there like that. Keeps the cable nice and straight, nice and tight. And sets up everything on the handbrake side of things. So we're pretty much getting there now. We've got all our caliper on that on. We now need to pay our attention to the pipe work, so we can actually use the brakes. Okay, so what I do to do this is I jam the caliper in the top here. Also undone with a 14. And then we can let that hang. And we can unwind the cable and put it in where it needs to go. So, wind the old 14 out. Once you get it turned a few turns, that will just wind out with your fingers. You do have to wiggle the pipe a bit because they rust in there. Sometimes they don't want to move at all. Just get the spanner on the back of it. Give it a few knocks side to side. We'll start moving like so. Pull the dust cover out of the other one. Just put it straight in there. Without cross-threading it. You definitely don't want that. Now you're going to get a little washer left in here. You can put the new one in, but I always like to use the one that's been used on that on this flexi cable, because they're always squished into how you want them to be basically, whereas a new one you have to bed it in. Cool. Thought that was going to be a bit of a pain then and not have a thread to wind in on, but it has. We're getting covered obviously, but that's the only way to do it. There's nothing you can do about that. Wash that down with some WD. Rinse off all that fluid that's starting to leak out. You can wipe your pipe and all your connections down, then you can see what's actually happening. Get your 14. Don't slip like that, and just nip it up. Check all your pipe work. Make sure you've got no leaks, nothing happening, no kinks, no little nicks in your pipe or anything like that. And you're good to go. These will drag a little bit for your first sort of 10 miles down the road until you bed everything in. Once you get to this point, you need to go around into the car, press your pedal probably 10-15 times and pump all the pistons out to the calipers. Now obviously I'll put a new one on, so when you put a new one on you have to take this off, which is the bleed nipple here, and you'd have to bleed this one with like a self-bleeding system. You have a little pot with some fluid in, you put the pipe on there, you release that, normally a 10mm or 11mm depending on where you buy your calipers, and you pump your brake. This will fill back up within probably presses. You turn that back off, lock that up, then go and pump your pedal out. Never touch your handbrake at all whatsoever. Pump your pedal out till you get a nice hard pedal, then you can use your handbrake and pull these systems across and get them working. Okay, so that should show you how to do your brakes, how to set up everything, what to replace, what bolts to replace, what you need to do as you're doing the job. It should save you a fair bit of money. So hopefully that will. Hopefully you'll be able to get on with your project, or you'll be able to get your car back on the road, the one you're actually using, etc., etc. And I've helped you a bit, helped you out quite a bit, hopefully. Right, so thanks very much for watching. Appreciate your time. Hope you get your project or car on the road. Would appreciate a comment below. And hit the old subscribe button and stuff like that if you haven't already. And I'll see you soon in another video. Bye for now.